Hey there guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is a special video based on a user submitted question. You see, every day on the John Campea Show, viewers support the channel by using digital tips, and they also use the super chat feature to send in questions. And on the rare occasion when somebody sends one in that's like $50 or more, I like to honor that by answering their question in its own standalone video. So let's do that right now and get to the question from John Campea, who writes, did you enjoy Leia's scenes? Did she receive more or less screen time than you thought? All right, thanks a lot for the question, man. And clearly, we're talking about Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, which is now opening up in theaters tomorrow, but the press has seen it, the review embargo is lifted, all that kind of stuff is out there. I saw the film, and I gotta say, while I believe it is a movie that a lot of people are gonna like, and I believe there is definitely stuff in there to like, overall, I didn't like the film. I was kind of let down by it. Now, I gotta say, I've seen it twice already. The second time I saw it, I will say I disliked it a little bit less. But it's still, not really a film I overall enjoyed. I certainly, not as much as I've enjoyed the other ones. I loved The Force Awakens. I really loved Rogue One. I quite enjoyed Solo. And overall, I liked The Last Jedi. But unfortunately, this is one I didn't quite like. Now, that being said, one of the worries that I had going into Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker was how they were going to use Leia. Very famously, they made the decision that they were going to continue to have the character in the movie. They weren't going to recast her, and instead they were going to take footage that they shot for Star Wars The Force Awakens, the unused footage they shot of Carrie Fisher in Star Wars The Force Awakens, and then repurpose that footage to make it fit into Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. I was always a little bit nervous about that because I thought, well, now instead of just doing a scene naturally and organically, you're trying to fit scenes in to work around what it is you had her doing and saying for a completely other movie and a completely different story. So were my fears valid, or was it all okay? Well, without going into spoilers, the answer is kind of yes to both. Because, listen, there were moments in this movie where they had scenes with Leia that was like, this just does not feel right. Like, it doesn't fit in. You can sort of tell this is kind of they're trying to take a square block and force it into a round peg hole. And it just wasn't working. But to be fair, there are also a couple of scenes where they do that, and it did kind of work in some ways. Ultimately, overall, though, I walked away thinking it was a mistake to do it. I applaud the bold attempt. It was very bold to try to take unused footage of Carrie Fisher from another movie and force it into this one. It was bold, and it was a big, audacious thing to try, and I applaud them for the attempt. But I kind of feel like by the end of the day, it didn't work. And I know this is a very unpopular opinion, but it's the truth. It would have worked better if they just honored the memory of Carrie Fisher by recasting with another actress to come in and take this character that Carrie Fisher had built and been for us for so many decades across the finish line for her, since she couldn't do it herself. Instead of doing it in a less than satisfying way by using repurposed footage from another movie that was never meant for this movie. So did it work for me? Not really, but I have to admit it worked more than I thought it was going to. Still, overall, I didn't think it worked, but it worked better than I thought it was going to, so, I'll leave it up to you guys to decide. As far as was she in more or less of this movie than I thought she would be, she was actually in a little bit more than I thought she would, which may not have been a good thing, considering I thought the use of the footage was a little bit awkward, but they did have more of her in it than I originally thought they would, so whether that's a good or a bad thing is going to be up for the individual to decide. Anyway, guys, that's just my one movie fan's opinion about how that one particular element worked out. Once you guys have a chance to see it with yourselves, I'm sure you're going to have your own opinions as well. Hey, listen, guys, while you're here, why don't you take a second and click on that subscribe button, become a subscriber to the John Campea YouTube channel, stay up to date on everything we got going on around here. That will do it for me for now. My name is John Campea, and until our next video, bye-bye.